You scroll through your phone after another exhausting day. Bills unpaid, deadlines looming. The American dream feels more like survival. Then you see a photo, someone in Portugal sipping coffee on a sunny plaza. The caption reads, "Best decision I ever made." You don't think much of it until you see another and another. Thousands of Americans are leaving the US not for vacation, but forever. And not because they're ungrateful. Quite the opposite. They've just realized that a peaceful, balanced life might exist somewhere else. They're not all wealthy. Many are young families, digital workers, artists, and even retirees. But they share one thing in common. They were burned out, crushed by healthcare costs, non-stop work, crime fears, and disconnection. Europe offers them something the US no longer can: calm, predictability, a human pace of life. In this video, we break down the 10 most powerful reasons behind this growing migration from healthcare to community to quality of life. And it starts with one of the most emotional: healthcare. In America, getting sick is dangerous, not just for your body, but your bank account. Even with insurance, co-pays, deductibles, and surprise bills turn ordinary checkups into debt traps. One ambulance ride can cost thousands. This is the reality millions live in every day: delaying care, skipping prescriptions, or avoiding doctors completely. But in most of Europe, healthcare is not a luxury, it's a public good. Universal systems cover basic and emergency care. You don't get charged to sit in a waiting room. You're not billed $80 for an aspirin. Even private insurance options for expats are cheap, often under $150 a month. With full coverage, you can see a specialist without weeks of waiting. Medication is affordable. And mental health is taken seriously. The difference is so stark that many Americans abroad say it's the first time they've felt safe being sick. No panic, no shame, just healing. This one change alone transforms lives. Because when you're not terrified of illness, your whole life opens up. In America, getting sick is dangerous, not just for your body, but your bank account. Even with insurance, co-pays, deductibles, and surprise bills turn ordinary checkups into debt traps. One ambulance ride can cost thousands. This is the reality millions live in every day: delaying care, skipping prescriptions, or avoiding doctors completely. But in most of Europe, healthcare is not a luxury, it's a public good. Universal systems cover basic and emergency care. You don't get charged to sit in a waiting room. You're not billed $80 for an aspirin. Even private insurance options for expats are cheap, often under $150 a month. With full coverage, you can see a specialist without weeks of waiting. Medication is affordable. And mental health is taken seriously. The difference is so stark that many Americans abroad say it's the first time they've felt safe being sick. No panic, no shame, just healing. This one change alone transforms lives. Because when you're not terrified of illness, your whole life opens up. Life in the US is fast. Too fast. Work starts early, ends late, meals are rushed, screens dominate, rest is guilt, weekends are chores, burnout is a badge of honor. But in Europe, time slows, cafes are full of people just sitting, long lunches are normal. Stores close on Sundays, not for profit, but for people. You walk more, you breathe, you notice things. The culture doesn't glorify exhaustion. Rest isn't lazy, it's expected. Trains may take longer, but they're scenic. Schedules are flexible. Life is built around quality, not quantity. Americans often report a strange feeling after moving: boredom. But then it shifts. They rediscover presence, quiet, conversation. In a world obsessed with more, Europe quietly reminds you that enough is already here. In the US, your job is your identity. What do you do isn't just small talk, it's status. Work weeks stretch past 50 hours. Vacations are short, sometimes unpaid. Emails never stop. Hustle culture teaches that rest is weakness. But in Europe, balance is law. Most countries mandate 20 to 30 vacation days. Sick leave is paid. Parental leave can last a year. And working overtime is not glorified, it's discouraged. People work hard, but when the day ends, it ends. Families eat together. Friends meet in parks. You don't live to work, you work to live. This cultural shift is often emotional for Americans. They remember what free time feels like. They realize their self-worth isn't tied to productivity. And once they experience it, they don't want to go back. The US is one of the wealthiest nations in the world, but for many, it doesn't feel that way. Rent consumes half your income. Groceries are inconsistent. Health insurance is confusing and costly. A trip to the dentist, hundreds of dollars. Meanwhile, across much of Europe, the basics are simply more affordable. A one-bedroom apartment in Lisbon or Krakow might cost a third of what you'd pay in San Francisco or New York. Healthcare is either free or subsidized. Public transportation works, so no need for a car, insurance, or parking. Groceries are fresh, local, and often cheaper. University is free or nearly free. In countries like Germany, you can get a world-class degree without decades of debt. For many Americans, the surprise isn't that Europe is cheaper, it's that it's also higher quality. Clean cities, efficient systems, livable wages. You don't feel like you're constantly one emergency away from collapse. You feel like you can breathe and maybe even build. In America, visiting a new country is a big deal. Long flights, big costs, lots of planning. In Europe, it's like catching a bus. You can have lunch in France and dinner in Belgium, but it's not just travel, it's culture. Everywhere. Ancient churches, art on public walls, street festivals in small towns. You walk through history. You don't have to go somewhere to feel enriched, it surrounds you. And it's accessible. Museums often offer free admission or reduced rates. Parks and monuments are integrated into daily life. Even small cities prioritize beauty and creativity. Americans abroad are stunned by how much learning and culture is built into everyday life. For children, education isn't just in classrooms, it's on every street corner. Life in Europe rewards curiosity. And for many, it reignites something they didn't realize they'd lost: wonder. In the US, isolation is normal. People work long hours, live far apart, and interact mostly online. Suburbs are quiet. Cities are busy but disconnected. It's easy to feel alone even when surrounded by people. Europe feels different. Walkable cities create natural interaction. Public spaces are shared. Local shops are neighborhood hubs. You see the same faces at the bakery, the cafe, the tram. You talk, you connect. Even in big cities, life feels local. Children play outside. Elders sit in squares. Teenagers gather in parks, not malls. People live closer, both physically and emotionally. And while language and culture can be barriers at first, most Americans abroad say the human warmth eventually breaks through. In a world that's more digitally connected than ever, Europe shows how powerful physical community still is. Stability is underrated until you don't have it. In the US, life often feels like a game of chance. Rent can skyrocket. Healthcare bills arrive months later. One job loss can take down your entire life structure. But in Europe, systems are built to be stable. Housing is protected. Transit is consistent. Bureaucracy may be slow, but it's reliable. You know what to expect each month. Childcare is subsidized. Maternity leave is secured. You can fall without fear of being left behind. This isn't just economic, it's emotional. When life is predictable, anxiety lowers. You sleep better. You plan better. You dream again. Many Americans say they didn't even realize how much background stress they carried until it was gone. Let's be honest, Europe isn't perfect. Bureaucracy can be maddening. Immigration rules are strict. Weather varies. And you'll miss certain American comforts, maybe the food, or how fast things move. But for thousands of Americans, the trade-off is worth it. They're not chasing fantasy, they're choosing function. Peace over profit, time over tension. They feel safer, healthier, less rushed, less alone. They don't just exist, they live. And that's the point. Maybe the American dream still exists, but for many, it's living quietly somewhere in Europe.